Welcome everyone to the National Black Feminist Book Group. Of course, we're reading Alice Walker's book. This is our second session, and we're reading We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For, Inner Light in a Time of Darkness, Meditations by Alice Walker. And tonight we are on chapter 4, called All Praises to the Pause, the Universal Moment of Reflection. My name is Michelle Odom. I'm one of the hosts of the book group, along with Randie Henderson. I want you to feel comfortable joining the book group. We are open to new members. We can have 10 people at a time in the Hangout, Google Hangout, and an unlimited number watching on YouTube. But I want you to feel comfortable coming into the Hangout. Venita will tell you I will spend as much time as it takes giving you technical assistance if you're having difficulty doing that, except we need to do it at some other time than when the meeting is going on. So I think Google Hangouts is a little bit more complicated than it says it is. So I try to open the Hangout at 6 o'clock so that if anyone needs technical assistance, we can do that then. Let's have everyone else introduce yourself. Randie?
Hi, my name is Randie Henderson. Again, I am watching remotely from Atlanta. I'm also a member of BWB and excited for tonight's chapter.
And Georgette?
My name is Georgette Moses, and I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm excited about tonight's chapter.
And Venita?
Hi, my name is Venita Walker, and I am speaking to you from Connecticut. And I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm happy that you're here tonight.
I am here in New York. On chapter 4, All Praises to the Pause, the Universal Moment of Reflection. Does someone want to read the summary there?
Sure, Randie.
I was just about to say something. Okay, Venita. Okay, summary, chapter 4, All Praises to the Pause, the Universal Moment of Reflection. Know the river has its destination. Alice Walker takes us on a journey in chapter 4, All Praises to the Pause, the Universal Moment of Reflection, which in the end invites our reflection on the Hopi Nation message. Know the river has its destination. The pause is a moment when life requires us to take time to reflect, like a forced timeout, when we have a rare opportunity to consider our next move and help to shape the change that is inevitable. Human beings often miss the importance and therefore waste this moment, which leads to even more disastrous consequences. She looks at the role of men and women in society, how these roles have changed over time, and the consequences to the world when we are imbalanced. In spite of and because of ourselves, we are living through a period of rapid change, like a fast-moving river speeding us to a place where how we will survive will be our only concern and who will be with us. Know the river has a destination.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me go ahead and read this last segment called Inevitable Change in a World of Uncertainty. Know the river has its destination. Walker shared this message from the elders of the Hopi Nation of Arabia, Arizona. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Know the river has its destination. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel they are being torn apart, and they will suffer greatly. Know the river has its destination. Walker warns this is a time when many will find, to their astonishment perhaps, that we are seeing the world through a single eye. Race will no longer matter, or sex, or gender, or orientation of any description. How we will survive will be our only concern, and who will be with us. Question 6. Reflect on a social, economic, or political change you have witnessed in your lifetime and say whether and why you see it as positive or negative. And question 7. Do you imagine you know how you would survive if you lost everything, and who would remain by your side?
Well, those are two
Anybody?
tough questions, Michelle. I don't know what you're talking about. You did good this week.
I told you I love this chapter.
It shows.
A social, political, or economic change. Go on, Venita.
Political changes I've witnessed during the time of our great Wall Street escapade. I've witnessed the elites systematically and intentionally try and thus far have succeeded in starving us to death. I've watched them loot with hardly no upheaval at all from, I would say, laymen like ourselves. I've watched them destroy people's lives. I mean, literally destroy them, not just material things, mentally destroy them, and a lot of times cause them death. She mentioned, and I think it was on page 90 or page 79, the lone wolf, a system that feeds as a vampire does. The lone wolf, a prophet by any means necessary. That I've witnessed, and what's so sad about it is what is happening to us, and what the elites are doing to us is not. What's happening now has been planned for a long time. This isn't incidental. This has been planned for a long time to get us where we are, where we deem like we're hopeless and helpless and we can't do anything. And that alone has just devastated us in the last, I'd say, 15 years, 20 years. It's just so sad. So politically, I've seen so many things happen. Wall Street, I think Kim mentioned Wall Street, which is, Wall Street actually is a mirage. It really doesn't exist for anyone but the elite. And the elite are the ones that are owners of big business. You know, the banks that are too big to fall, the car dealerships that are too big to fall. But meanwhile, folks like us, which most of the countries may have folks like us, I went to the store today. I almost protested in the middle of the store. This is early this morning, because you know I can't be out in the heat, okay, because that will kill me, or the sun. So I had to go out about 7 o'clock. $4.99 for a pound of Land O'Lakes unsalted butter. Girl, they almost had to dial 911. Okay. But this is what I'm saying. They're systematically starving us to death.
Mhm.
You know, we're not talking about, you know, material things. We're talking about what we need for our bodies so that we can get up tomorrow morning. Even if we don't have a home, we can lay outside tonight with a blanket on us, and we'd be all right. We could do that for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but we cannot even live without food. They are starved us to death. And I don't see anybody among all our hungry folks, especially the ones that have food, even flinching. Is it just me?
No.
You know, the new face of the homeless is the middle class.
That's right.
And I was talking to them, a couple of my middle class neighbors, and you know, I don't think people understand that we are or not we. I used to be middle class, going by the government standards. You had a little quota. You know, anybody make over $12,000 is middle class. You ever heard of that? That's the way it is. But that's no longer. We're all poor people. But it's devastating. I don't hear anything though. I don't hear anything from anyone. I don't hear anything, and I don't expect to hear from
Well,
people now.
I think there are some rumbles, but
They're not loud enough.
they're not getting mass media attention. So, you know,
Politics is killing us. Our political system are killing us. We have we have our Congress down here, you know, old white men dressed in $5,000 suits with $1,000 gaiters on, just choking us to death. We even have on our town and city level, politicians is me, not thinking about the people. We are, you know, as Alice said so eloquently, this is in the lab. This is it. And the question we ought to be asking: how are we going to survive? How?
That's a great question.
Any jealousy and hatred we feel in our heart, you better get rid of it quick, because we might be all living together in a few minutes.
That's right.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I never understood. Michelle and I've been friends for 40-something years. I've never understood jealousy and hatred because, you know, I just don't even know where you get it from. You know, that's another thing to me is it's like, it's real, but it's not real. You know, it's not even like, who thinks of it? You know, but we had all better start doing something real quick because we only got a few minutes left. And when Mr. Barack Obama steps out of office in the next couple of years, I will be coming to your house, Georgette, and Kim, you're going to be there too, and Randie, and Michelle. And the reason why I say that, and I don't want to get in the whole political conversation, but people don't understand, if he has not been able to do anything else, he has been a shield for us. The elites are very angry. They was trying to figure out how they were going to get rid of him before he even got there. They are mad as hell. Okay? So it's going to be a field day in a few minutes. You think we're hungry now? Butter's going to be $15 a pound. And guess what? The elites don't care because they don't even go to the store to buy the butter anyway. And when you're sitting around on $20 billion, 400 million, 800, you don't even know. You just know the end. You don't even know what butter is used for. You just know that you have that, you know, croissant in your hand. So it's scary. Very scary.
Absolutely.
We should be very afraid. We should be afraid. We should be very afraid. Afraid enough to, it has to be, as Michelle said, it's rumbling, but it's not loud enough. I guess people aren't hungry enough yet.
Yes.
Or cold enough yet. I don't know, Kim.
Anybody else?
I guess the thing that touches my heart so much politically is in a lot of our communities, a lot of the cities is where we live. And in terms of real estate, the developers are here and the price of real estate has doubled and tripled. And a lot of our seniors who work real hard to get their homes are now house poor. And it's easy to kind of pick them off because if the house next door to theirs goes for $1 million, their taxes go up.
That's
And their water bill go up. So if they're on a fixed income, they can no longer afford to live in a house that it took them their entire lifetime to acquire. And they thought they would live in the house peacefully. And I just think I see it in city after city after city that you have, these hipsters coming in and just taking over. And like the street that I live on, the African Americans and people of color are forced to move off. And so now it's this dynamic between middle class poor, like myself, and the rich, and I mean super rich.
Yeah.
So I think politically, it uproots communities. I remember in my own community, my daughter, she could go to the bodega on the corner. We had she could go in there and buy anything she wanted, and then they would settle up with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if she ever needed a stick of butter,
Yeah.
just go get the butter. It wasn't no big thing. I think, the Hispanic community, the African American community, we all knew that one hand washes the other and both hands wash the face. But now it's this whole other thing where, like you said, what happens? What happens? I'm fearful. I have to say, I can be very fearful of living in a community where if you don't have enough money to buy a $20 dinner, there's nothing you can do. I mean, now, my daughter and I, we used to eat out all the time. There's the Chinese place, the Jamaican patty place. Now, we have to cook. So I just feel like my community has moved, even though I didn't move. So I really feel like a gypsy. And so I know economically we are being scattered around down south. And I think economically, every time you're uprooted like this, it's damaging. I think it's damaging because you lose connections.
Where do you live?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay.
In New York. So that's pretty much. And then if I ever lost everything, who would take care of me? I don't even want to think about that. I really don't want to think about that because I can see myself, oh my God, I don't know, sharing my sister's couch or something. And then they say, well, we got to watch TV, so you got to stay up until we're ready to go to sleep. I don't know. I don't look forward to that. So, yeah, that's my thought on both of those.
That part doesn't scare me, sharing a couch or sharing a house. What I'm fearful of is that most folks are in the same situation. There may not be a couch to share. That's my fear. Because, I mean, now, before, economically, everybody, it was all right. You work every day, it was okay. But now, I'm hearing people, who are you going to share? Half of them are losing their jobs. Half of them are looking for a place to stay. They're trying to keep their head above water. They're becoming homeless. That may not be a couch count. That's what I'm afraid of. I can do the couch if I have to.
Let me just have my delusion on the couch. I may not be able to sleep. You keep it up.
And you hear Kim, we got to get a laugh. Kim said, and they might want to cut the TV off and say, I got to...
I'm going to have to strip you of your delusion, Kim. Sorry.
You made me smile, Kim.
But there is something that I want to tell you all, but I want to say first that I don't want to scare you too much. So don't be afraid. My situation is very unique. And the other thing is, please don't try to help me. Do not send me private messages asking if there's anything that you can do to help. There is not. But I am currently homeless and have been so for a couple of years, depending on how you count it. But Kim, I went through the period of staying on people's couches, and so that's why I say I have to strip you of the illusion. Now, that's not to say all family and friends are the same, but I have had enough experience with that to say that there is something about vulnerability that brings out the ugly in people, and and so I have learned things about myself. I have learned things about people that have known me all my life, most of whom are not around. I mean, if nothing else, Venita is truly my oldest friend, because for the most part, when you hit a pause like this, it drives most people out of your life. And so you learn things about yourself and you learn things about them that you really couldn't learn probably any other way. I've learned things about my family and friends that I don't think they knew, because there's something about the situation that reveals the true character of people. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Venita has been trying to get me to go on and write my book, because I have a real story of what is it, from relative wealth to relative poverty. But I don't think I'm ready to do that, Venita, because I don't feel, I'm not on the other side. I'm not really ready to be reflective about it while I am experiencing still so much of it. But I'm okay. You know, I'm in an okay place right now, and I've been learning to accept it, Georgette, and that has made it easier. But I wanted to share it with you because one thing I know, you know, like Randie talked about being violated last week, and I was so proud of you for that, Randie, because what I learned with my own experience with sexual abuse is that shame robs us of our power. And when you can speak it, when you can speak the thing that you're supposed to be ashamed of, it gives you a power. And so there are some people that have known, you know, because my situation has, like I said, it's very unique. It started with health, it's snowballed into a financial problem, became a spiritual problem, became a combination of all three. And, you know, but I know that poverty is something that you're supposed to be ashamed of. You're not supposed to speak up about it, Venita. You're not supposed to fight back about it, because you're supposed to be ashamed, and you are supposed to experience it as your individual failure and your personal weakness. And I simply will not allow that shame to hobble me in that way, because I don't take it personally, which is not to say I have not been a factor in it. But we have really lived through the worst economy of my lifetime.
That's what I'm
our
saying.
lifetime, most of us here. And not only that, it has not affected us all in the same way or at the same pace, which means that it's very difficult for people to understand something that they're not experiencing.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I've come to understand that. I've come to understand that people that have been on the same job for 15, 20, 30 years don't understand that this is a new day, that this is a new economy, and that the things that worked for us 20, 30 years ago don't work today, and that we have to be prepared to do things differently. And so I couldn't really share all of the wisdom that has come out of this experience unless I was able to talk to you all in truth. And so that's why I'm sharing this. But like I said, do not send me any messages asking if you can help, because for the most part, I've experienced extreme cruelty, but I've also experienced extreme generosity and the kindness of strangers during this period. But on balance, I have to say that the help has been killing me. So, thanks, but no thanks. So that's all I'm going to say about it tonight. But I'm sure as we go on, Alice Walker is going to insist that I say more.
Indeed. Thank you, Michelle.
Anybody?
Thank you for sharing.
Well,
can I just say one thing? I just
Sure.
feel, first, thank you so much for your honesty and your integrity. I just think that is just so wonderful. But for me, my eyes are open and I just see us struggling. I just see, even within my own family, there's someone who's moving into a homeless shelter. And it's something where I just see it everywhere, and I'm looking for work, and I'm finding that I'm looking for jobs that pay like 70% less than what I had made. 70%, that's what's being offered, and so I definitely understand. I have no illusions that things are going well for the majority of us, and I just appreciate place where you can just be honest about that it's rough, especially when you can look at 4 or 5 different people in your own family and kind of see that they're teetering on disaster, completely going under. You see it. Unless your eyes are just so stuck on your stupid, you see it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so on that note, let's bring the meeting to a close. I hope I didn't bum you guys out too much. But really, I'm okay.
All right.
And as you said, Georgette, about helping the lady with the cart at the grocery store, I couldn't be here with you doing what I think is some really fabulous and important work with this book group if I were all caught up in, a big career. So I have come to believe that things happen for a reason and happen the way they're supposed to happen. And even when we don't understand it, in hindsight, we can look back and see how the pieces fit together. So.
What did I say, Michelle? Thank God for lupus. What did I tell you?
Thank God. And I've thought so many times, Venita, since you said a couple of weeks ago that you can't see the light until you're in the dark.
That's the truth.
That is so true. That is just so phenomenally true. So yeah, I have a measure. I'm not all the way there yet, Georgette, but I have a measure of gratitude for what I have been through.
And the good news is we all have our book group members.
Yes.
Yes.
So we always have a place to go.
Yes.
And that's the good news. Right, Georgette? Right, Kim?
Yes.
Right, Randie?
Right.
Always got a place to be.
Wow.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I have certainly enjoyed tonight's meeting. And I will see you back here next Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Google Plus Hangouts on Air.
Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you too. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Night.